conflict came from Latin word called conflictus, which means collision or clash. So, what is conflict? A process that begins when one party has negatively affected or is about to negatively affect the first party hereon. So basically, it is we can say that conflict is a disagreement between two parties, and we can further classify it on the basis of effects. That it is not necessary that conflict is always negative. Many times it's plays a role for in a positive way. Like when a group work for same goal, they have a same goal. There may be some people who have different perspective about the topic on which they are working. So there may be conflict rises between them, and they can share their ideas, they can argument with their teammates, so that fruitful outcome they get. So the types are functional conflict and dysfunctional conflict. The positive conflict which I am talking about is that functional conflict, and there are some results which may not lead to some decent conclusions. That's are the dysfunctional conflicts. So, and now I'm talking about conflict processes. There are basically 5 stages of conflict. First one is the potential opposition or incompatibility, in which there is the presence of a conflict, but it might not be seen. It can be because of the communication. It can be because of the organization structure. It can be because of the personal variances, personal goals of the employees who are working within it. Second stage is the cognition and personalization. It is also called as perceived conflict, where the parties perceive that there may be a topic which may be cause conflict in near future. Then third one is the intention. Here it is also called as felt conflict, where where the parties are emotionally indulged in the conflict. Their productivity, their everything got indulged in this stage. And now the fourth stage is the behavior. Now, as I talked about intention, when the parties are involved mentally in a conflict, their reaction is shown in this stage 4, which is behavior. And shown is the last one is the outcome, which is the final result of that behavior, which is how they act in that situation. Then, after the process of conflict, I am coming to the levels of conflict. Conflicts are basically at 3 levels. First one is the individual levels, in which individual itself, within itself, he might have some conflicts. Like first one is the frustration. This causes conflict because when like I want to do a task and I want to perform that, but due to some reason I am not able to perform it, so I got frustrated, and which causes to conflict within myself, because I am talking about individual level conflict. And the second one is goal conflict. In this, what I have thought how to what are type of task I have to perform. If I get different than that, then there may be a conflict. And the third one is also role conflict. It is basically about the performance, what I am expected to perform, and I'm not able to perform it in that way. So it causes role conflict. Second one is the interpersonal conflict. This is between the surrounding, like if 2 or more than 2 team members are working in a team, then there may be some conflict because of personal differences. As I mentioned, that there are different cognitive levels of every individual, every employee. So they causes their goals are different. So there may be some personal differences. Second one is the information deficiency. Maybe there are some misinformation or information which causes personal conflict, interpersonal conflict. And here also comes the role incompatibility conflict. That means if I am assigned to a task and I am doing more than that or doing less than that, it also causes conflict with my co-worker who is performing same level task with me. So, and third one is the environment stress. As we know that work environment always poses a different type of stress, and when we work in an environment, there are different things which hampers our goal. which hampers our mental state. At, that comes under the environment stress. Third one is the group level conflict. It is we can see that it is intergroup conflict and intra-group conflict. But first one is intergroup. Intragroup. Intragroup is like when a group in itself have their conflict. Like I mentioned earlier that conflict is classified on the basis of the results. If there is an intra-group conflict, it always leads to a functional conflict, which always a positive impact on the organization and its goals. And second one is the intergroup conflicts. Intergroup basically is about when two or more groups working in an organization and they have classes within the with each other. So there comes the intergroup conflict. Moving to the next slide. There are multiple theories in conflict management. Basically, my topic is conflict resolution. First, I am giving you the introduction about what is conflict and its processor and level of conflict. Now, this is the theories which are given by many researchers. First one is the conflict management by MP Follett. She is very active between 1950 to 1933, and she published many research about organization behavior on organization behavior. Like in its paper, One Constructive Conflict, she advances the idea that the conflict should be regarded as normal process in an organization. That means we don't have to overhype conflict. As I mentioned before, that conflict is not always negative. It is very necessary. It is an integral part of an organization because without conflict, an organization cannot move towards its goal. So it is very necessary, and he suggests 4 methods through which one can manage the conflicts. First one is the domination. Domination by itself, it's like when two parties have conflict, so one has to dominate on the second one so that he fulfills his objectives. Second one is the compromise. Compromise is like when you create a win-win situation for both the parties, where first parties also have to give some of its objectives, and second one also gives give up on his objective, and so that they came to a mutual agreement and resolve the conflict. Third one is the manipulation. It is basically about how you manipulate the issue on which you have your conflict. And fourth one is the integration. It is basically about you can integrate both parties' objectives so that you can fulfill both the parties what they want. Moving to the next slide. Second theory is from Thomas and Kilman conflict theory. Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Kilman, they both are behavioral scientists. They have identified 5 styles to responding to a conflict, and it is about they given this theory in 1970s. It also consists competing, compromising, collaborating, accommodating, and avoiding. Competing, as I mentioned earlier, competing is about when you show that I am good from my rival. So that I win, you lose. Here it happens that I win when I do a task. I try to dominate the other. So I win, and he or she will definitely going to lose. Second one is also is compromise. He also mentioned that previously MP Follett also mentioned about that compromise. He also mentioned that I win some and you win some. Third one is collaborating. Collaborating is like previously I have mentioned about integration. It's similar to that collaborating. I win and you win. Here both of them integrated their goals so that they can accomplish their task. Accommodating, I lose, you lose. And avoiding, I lose, you lose. I lose, you lose. Avoiding is like when you do not respond to the conflict. There is a conflict and you try to ignore it, that there is no conflict really exists between you and the party who is with you in the conflict. Third one is Parikh's model of conflict management. Uday Parikh is basically in 1982 he proposed a contingency model of managing conflict in the organization, and he gives 4 avoidance styles and 4 approach styles. And these have their uses in different situations. Like avoidance styles, extreme avoidance of conflict happens when the outgroup is belligerent and unreasonable. Result approach is sense of helplessness. Here when there is not no proper communication channel between the two parties, that so they try to avoid each other. The how can a party can avoid from a conflict is about by giving resignation, withdrawal from the topic on which he assigned by the organization. Appeasement is about giving advantage to your rival, that you can go what you want to do, you do, I have no care about it. Then diffusal. And the fourth, approach style. Approach style is basically about giving priority to yourself, that like confrontation. What your It is not necessary that you comply with every thing that your rival said. You can confront him and do propose your point of views, what you are thinking about the topic, and in what way you are thinking that the task should be done. Then the arbitration, it is basically about mediation, or this is also a type of cooperation. The third one is compromise. As the previous two slides also mentioned about compromise, here it is also given, so I'm not going to that detail. Negotiation is also about negotiating with your rival. And here are the 5A technique of conflict management, which is given by Brisoff and Victor. They have identified 5 stages in the conflict management process that they call 5 A's of conflict management. First one is assessment. In the assessment stage, the parties involved collect appropriate information about the problem. First of all, they want to know what the real problem is, and they gather information on that the topic. And second is the acknowledgement. First we have to perform assessment, then we come to acknowledgement. Each party attempt to hear out the other. Each party here want to know what the ideas and what the point of views the other party is possessing, and they share their ideas so that they know what they are thinking about the topic. Third one is the attitude. Attitude is that it tries to remove the foundation of pseudo conflict, like stereotypical assumptions, in which many times happens that when we have conflict between two people, when there is a conflict between two people, one has some stereotypical thinking assumption about that. He is thinking that I am not good, and think that it is basically a negative thing. So when we do acknowledgement, we can move to the attitude, so that it try to remove the foundation of pseudo conflict which is between the two parties. Then moving to the next slide. Fourth step is action. It begins to activate, implement the chosen handling mode, conflict handling mode. It is basically about what you have assessed how you have assessed the problem, and what are your point of view. According to that, you can choose what kind of technique model you going to use to solve the conflict. And this is the action part, and the fifth one is the analysis part. This is the last step, decided on what they will do, and then summarize and review what they have agreed upon, in which basically how the last 4 processes have done, and they summarize it and even monitor it, that if there is necessary things which can be changed to get to a fruitful result. Conflict management based on managerial grids. It is basically given by Blake and Mountain. Based on Blake and Mountain managerial grid model, the model has 2 dimensions. First one is concern for personal goals or assertiveness, in which every individual has their personal goals, and second one is concern for relationship or cooperativeness. These have been used to derive 5 styles. First one is competing, second one is accommodating. These two basically have higher assertiveness than cooperativeness. And third one is avoiding. Avoiding, in which both assertiveness and cooperativeness is very low, because both the parties want to avoid the thing. Fourth one is compromising, and fifth one is collaborating. Compromising, in which the level of assertiveness and cooperativeness is moderate, and collaboration in collaboration, both assertiveness and cooperativeness is very high. Last one is the contact hypothesis. This is given by Godwin W. Elwood, and it is also as an intragroup contact theory. The premise of Elwood theory states that under the appropriate condition in interpersonal contact is one of the most effective way to reduce prejudice between the parties. That means if you have two people common in the parties who have the conflicts, then those people work as a proper communication channel through which the both parties convey their ideas and convey their ideas. Thank you.